Hey guys, welcome back. Blades of God here from Hammer Bros Gaming. Today we're covering Chapter 2 of Epic Tier 3 Engineer, which is to complete the game on the highest difficulty setting, which is impossible. So if you watched the first chapter of this video series, you're going to know that we are not covering any of the basic mechanics of the game, as you'd already have to play through the game once to unlock impossible difficulty. The gameplay will be sped up to roughly 3 times the normal gameplay speed to conserve a little bit of time, but I will slow down the gameplay for any fights or anything that I feel will be important or necessary for you to see. In the last chapter, at the end of the last chapter, I bought a pulse rifle and have only upgraded my air by 1 node. Other than that, there has been no upgrades, but again, watch the first video for the first chapter 1 information. So as we get going here, you get off the tram, you go into this first atrium room. You are tasked with going to 1 of 2 spots to get some equipment. I go towards medbay first to make sure you hit the stasis, slow that door down so you don't get chopped up. Come into this big room, grab the wall safe and the equipment that is around the corner there. It's usually a little bit of ammo. Once the voice says hazardous anomaly detected, I like to come over here to this end of the room where the elevator is. You're going to have 1 necromorph coming down from each side, so I take out the legs of one, turn around, take out the legs of the other one, and if I have enough time, finish him off. A good tactic is don't get too hung up with taking out every necromorph one at a time. Rather get used to chopping off their legs and then picking them off once they're all slowed down. Once you take out those first 2 necromorphs, come back towards where you entered into the room and take out the 1 necromorph that dropped from the ceiling. You're going to have a 4th necromorph drop in behind you, closer to the first entrance door. There he is. Take him out. The 1 necromorph that we took the legs out of and then left behind is crawling his way around the gantry to come get us. You can see him over there crawling towards us, but don't panic because he's pretty slow. Finish him off once you've scavenged any available resources from the dead bodies. Pick up whatever he may have dropped and then head back over towards the elevator. You're going to notice that you're still in quarantine because you still have more necromorphs to take care of. So head down here, reload your weapons. I take the opportunity here to check and see what my ammo situation is for each weapon, and I see that I have at least 1 stack, one full stack of ammo for each gun, which is what I like to try to maintain for emergencies. At this point, I came over to the corner here because I saw 1 necromorph down on the bottom floor that I could kind of take some pot shots at and take him out with relative safety. I don't see any other enemies, so I reload and take the elevator down. You're not always going to be able to take those shots at that enemy on the ground floor. He kind of moves around. He's not just going to wait there. So look, and if you can take some shots, go ahead. If not, just drop down. Go to the stasis unit, refill your stasis. And then I was getting nervous, so I was waiting for the necromorphs to rush because there's quite a few that come in from that back hallway. Once you move past those 2 pillars, that's what triggers the fight, in my experience. Once I hear the necromorphs come in, I had a brilliant plan that I wanted to come back up the elevator and kind of use the upper gantry here to my advantage because that's what I felt comfortable with, but it backfired. I got so fed up, or so caught up trying to do some damage to the necromorphs below me, I didn't notice that necromorphs were coming through the vents up top. Plus, this necromorph has armor on his legs. You'll hear a higher pitched pinging noise when you can't do damage to the legs. So I wasted some time. I ended up paying for it. There was 2 necromorphs ahead of me. I managed to not get hit the first time, but he did a running attack and I took some damage. Then I got so preoccupied with these 2, I didn't notice there was 1 sneaking up behind me. That hit took me right down to 0. So I don't know how I didn't die here, but I used my stasis, kept my cool, picked off the legs and the arms as best I could, and just tried to build some distance between me and the enemies. Again, you hear that pew, pew. That is when you're shooting a necromorph with leg armor. You can't cut through that armor, so you're going to have to take out his arms or get behind him somehow. So once all these enemies are dead, scavenge what you can, and then head back down the elevator. You'll hear the voice say quarantine lifted. That's how you know you're in the clear. I go and refill my stasis, and then check the back rooms. There's an audio log and I believe, a text log back here, along with some ammo, and I think once in a while there's a small med pack, but I don't think there was on this run. Check these rooms for more audio logs and ammo. Remember, you never want to leave any stone unturned. That's why I keep doubling back on myself. This room has a couple of lockers and one Xbox or supply box, goodie box. You'll hear me call it whatever of those names. Then this door right next to the elevator where you came down is the last door you want to go through, because this actually continues you along your path. Once you go down this hallway and everything kind of turns this greenish color, you see I'm checking my ammo again to see what I had for ammo and health. And I saw that I have quite a bit of plasma cutter, so we're going to switch from the pulse rifle to the plasma cutter. We're going to encounter a new enemy at this point called the Lurker. Obviously, it's not new to you, because if you're playing on impossible difficulty, well, you've already faced all of these. But the Lurker is a small baby or childlike enemy that runs on all four legs. They have a lunge attack that they can do a lot of damage, which you're going to see right here. I've never seen a Lurker lunge that far. I thought I had plenty of space between us, and he took out 3/4 of my health with that one attack. The upside is when you kill the Lurker when they do the lunge attack, it is a one-shot kill. So as long as you mash the button, I think it's B fast enough on the Xbox anyway, you'll kill the necromorph, the Lurker, but at great physical cost to yourself. So once that first Lurker's dead, grab any goodies he may have dropped. Advance slowly, because you're going to have one burst through the glass on the right there, and one in the back. These Lurkers are pretty dangerous up close, and they also have a ranged attack, and the ranged attack does pack quite a bit of a punch. It's slow though, and it's pretty easy to avoid if you just strafe side to side, as you can see me do right there. And since their weak points are the tentacles, you're going to have to wait for them to sort of open up to shoot at you to do the most damage. Now, I wasted a lot of ammo there. I should have closed in a little bit so my shots would have been a little more accurate, but it got the job done. 2 Lurkers are down. We're going to check around for any extra ammo, see we got it all, and we're going to advance. Go through these doors, and there's the piece that you were looking for. Don't forget to grab the power node that is in the corner in that blue box, and now we're going to backtrack through the slamming door. Refill your stasis here. Down that hallway that I'm just looking at, there's 2 necromorphs that are coming down. One of them has leg armor, and one of them doesn't. And you're going to see that I line them up and hit them both with one stasis shot. I realized afterwards I didn't have to do that because I had a stasis refill station right there, but it's so drilled into your mind to be as efficient as possible that sometimes it just happens automatically. So I took out the one with the leg armor by shooting his arms off, and then I decided that I could burn some stasis and come up here and just finish him with melee. I thought, you saw me looking up the hall there, I thought there was another enemy up there, but there isn't. So I fired a blast of stasis, realized there was no one up there, doubled back to refill my stasis one more time, because take advantage of those when you can. So here we are back in the main atrium. We grabbed a little bit of ammo, then that corner that we missed the first time around, stop at the store. I moved some small med packs into my inventory and moved a medium med pack from my inventory to the safe. I like to keep as many of the bigger med packs for later in the levels when you have harder hitting enemies as possible. So refill your stasis if you need to, grab that ammo that's under the stasis. Then when you come into this room with the big stasis chamber on rails, straight ahead there's going to be a text log, there's going to be a workbench, and this is going to be the first room that I call a supply room or a safe room, the ones that you need power nodes to get into. Turn right, there's a gold circuit board, a audio clip, and then 2 lockers, one with a large med kit and one with some ammo. I'm pretty sure the large med kit's always there, but I think the ammo changes depending upon what weapons you have. So raid this room. I definitely think it's worth it. You can hit up the workbench if you want to do some upgrades. I didn't realize I only had 1 power node left on me, and after taking some time looking at my possible upgrades, I realized I need to save that 1 power node for a later equipment or a later safe room with supplies. So I decided not to upgrade anything after all. So back out, you're going to come around the corner here and grab this big stasis tank with a body in it and use your kinesis to slide it along the rails backwards and open your path. Now, once you go over this pathway, you're going to get attacked by 2 crawlers or jumpers. And I saw one, but I got totally blindsided right here by a second one. And I kind of panicked because I didn't know what was happening. So I stasised one, and then that second one just kind of disappeared on me. And I said, all right, well, screw it. We're going to focus on what we see. And then that jumper, that crawler just came back out of nowhere. So I'm panicking because I know my back's against the wall. They can do a lot of damage. And I just lay into these enemies with the pulse rifle. I burned through way too much ammo to kill 2 very basic enemies, but when the adrenaline hits a little bit, you just gotta do what you gotta do to get to the next part of the level, right? So I grabbed the med kit from one of the dead enemies, use 1 small med kit, I think 1 or 2 small med kits here to patch myself up, and I also check to see what I have for ammo available. Take that power node, or the power brick, I guess, power core, put it in there, and it'll activate the door and the elevator. Come into this room, ignore the dying guy, turn around because you're having a necromorph jump out of the vent at you, grab the power node out of the blue box, and before you leave, directly behind where I'm standing now, there's a schematic for pulse rounds. And if you're following what I'm doing, you're going to want that, because that means once you download that at the store, you're going to be able to buy rounds for your pulse rifle and not need to worry about running short on ammo so long as you have credits. So we go up the elevator. We're directly above the room we were just in with the dying guy. Move the stasis tank back on its rails to make a bridge across the gap here. And as soon as you come across, you're going to have a crawler jump out of the vent on the left, right there. I was trying to be cute, backing up and trying to lure him to me and leaving plenty of space so he wouldn't close the gap. But he decided that my plan wasn't very good and he was going to close the gap anyway. I ran past him, again trying to keep space so he couldn't attack me. And I have a heck of a time putting this guy down. And you don't want to be where I'm standing right now, because another necromorph is going to pop up on the left. You can just see his arms there as I'm running back. He's just a standard necromorph, but man, if you're preoccupied on impossible, their hits do a lot of damage. So I tried to move the bridge so he couldn't come across. He doubled back to go find a vent to try to sneak up on me. I crossed back over. You saw him crawl into the vent there, and then as soon as I was back across, he jumped back out. So not very efficient time-wise, but it made him back off and gave me room to take him out without getting hit again. So refill your stasis, shoot that little, there's a little lock over by this door that I shot from the other side of the chasm. That unlocks the door. Go into this room here. Through the door, it's going to be a not a zero-G, but a vacuum area. There's some stuff floating out here in space, like there's some line racks that you could grab with kinesis, and there's a few lockers. But before you go into the next door, you can see where I'm aiming. Right around that corner is a stack of 10,000 credits. That is a lot of credits. Do not miss that, because it will help you out a lot on Impossible. Anyway, advance through the door. Now we're in a zero-G area that is not in space, so it's not in vacuum, thank goodness. You could see there was a green box with a light, another one of the X boxes or loot boxes. I thought that there was 2 of them in this room, so I spent a minute just looking around trying to find that other loot box to no avail. So I ran across, jumped down onto the other platform, and grabbed that power brick, throw it into the reactor slot, and grab the other piece of equipment that you needed off that bench. Now when you come out of this door, you're going to have 2 crawlers come out of the wall across from you. But instead of using ammo or kinesis, grab some of the explosive barrels and use what the game gives you. Those things one-shot and deal a lot of damage to regular enemies, even on impossible difficulty. I was trying to set myself up to do this with the second jumper, but he kind of undershot his jump and ended up under the platform. He does pop up right there, though, and I managed to get him. So once those 2 enemies are dead, those are the only 2 enemies in this room. Search to see if they dropped anything useful for you. If not, head right across to the room that we were just in, or the room we came from, I mean. We're going to basically be backtracking at this point, back out of the zero-G room, into the vacuum. There's going to be 1 necromorph in vacuum who comes out here. Fun fact, if you decide to use the flamethrower in space, the flamethrower won't work out here. It just won't fire because there's no oxygen, and without oxygen you can't have fire. Come through this room, Necromorph's going to drop down. Now, don't dilly-dally here because oxygen doesn't come back into the room until you open that door right behind the Necromorph. And for some reason, this Necromorph just takes so much punishment before he dies. He's not even interested in trying to hurt me. He's just, like, being a bullet sponge. Now, I did give myself one power node upgrade of air, and it's for that very reason, because I didn't want to feel rushed when I was in the vacuum sections. So we hit the the save spot because it's a good run and it doesn't cost us a thing to save. Run over here, jump on the elevator. There is a Necromorph who comes out of the vent right next to you, but if you're quick, he can't hurt you. Now you're going to have a crawler come sprinting around the corner at you when you hit the ground floor, right there. And you're also going to have that Necromorph from up top coming down to join you through the vents, right there. So be quick, use stasis if you have to buy yourself some time. This Necromorph really kind of ticked me off because I dodged his jump fair and square, but he turned in mid-jump, which is not cool. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do that, but whatever. It was a clean run, clean encounter, no damage, very minimal ammo use, so was pretty happy with that. We're going to continue backtracking here. Hit the stasis station if you need it, and then back up immediately, because we have what I like to call the flipper swarm. They will take down your health very quickly, and I do not think that you can actually survive getting jumped on by an entire swarm. So take them out, keep advancing. We get back to this main atrium where we first came in. Use your improvised thermite bomb to blow through the barricade. Let's hit up the store real quick. We'll sell that semiconductor we got, the circuit board, not semiconductor, and sell off the line racks and the other things that we don't need. Manage whatever you need to manage for health packs, ammo, anything like that. I think I bought a couple more power nodes. Then let's head through that door after hitting the save spot. So we're going to advance up the ramp after getting a video message from Nicole. Turn left to get a supply box. Now in this room, this big lab, med bay area, there's two lurkers and they are the only enemies. And again, like we've already talked about, you want to aim for their tendrils when they expose them. I get a little closer, so my shots are a little more accurate this time. Take them down one at a time. Thankfully, the second one was staying on the left, so he wasn't bothering me. And just remember to strafe side to side. I don't follow my own advice here. I actually take a hit from him, and then he jumps on the ground. I pursue, and he takes a bunch of shots, but I actually think some of them were hitting the gurney that is right in front of him. So eventually he dies, and after those two lurkers are dead, you're going to want to scour this room. There is items and useful stuff in pretty much every corner and on every side of this room. So take your time, find everything. There's actually a little room right behind the main door that you're supposed to proceed through that has a couple of lockers. Once you're done and you're sure that you've got everything, grab the power node or the power core, come over to the door, slot it in, and advance through these big double doors. Now, this is quite a fight that's coming up. The lurker goes off to the right and sort of tries to bait you into a trap. He's going to double back on himself right there. I throw a card at him. Doesn't do a thing, but made me feel better. So take out this lurker. Nothing fancy about him. Same way we've been doing it. Except this time I had to try to cut off all three of his tentacles, which doesn't usually happen. Then as you advance, once you get up by the door, you're going to have a total of 4 Necromorphs come out. I wasn't aware of this, or I had forgotten this, so I advanced too quickly, and I get a little too overconfident. I try to stomp this one to death while I have Necromorphs surrounding me. Don't do what I did. I did keep my cool here, though. I took him out at the legs. Now, this guy that I'm shooting at, that's stasis. You're going to see him go down, but he is not dead. He decides to play possum on me. You'll see that in just a minute. So I take out the one guy who was crawling towards me. I'm using stasis just to try to conserve ammo because I've done a lot of shooting and I haven't had a chance to check my ammo supply. And as you can see, another shot wakes him up and he comes charging back at me. So I grab the goodies from them, turn around because right next to us is a supply room, or a security room, safety room. Use a power node and look at all those goodies on the floor. There's schematic, ammo, med kits, supply boxes with credits, all sorts of good stuff. And that is why we love keeping power nodes on us. Keep advancing down the hall. Before you go through the doors, take a right, come down here, you'll see a text log, but when you're about to get to the text log, you'll see that Necromorph comes up out of the grate. Be quick because you're going to have 2 more Necromorphs coming up behind you. One down the hallway, then one's going to drop through the roof. Just keep them at bay with leg shots. Use some stasis if you have to buy yourself some time, and just make those shots count. We're 3/4 of the way through Chapter 2, so I'm sure you know how to take care of necromorphs at this point. Grab the supply boxes, clean up all the goodies down here. Here I take a moment, check my medical supplies and my ammo, see that I'm pretty well stocked on both, so I swap back over to the pulse rifle, run past this medical area where the woman goes nuts, and then this hall explodes. After the hall explosion, you're going to have one lurker come out from the left. I take another hit here because I wasn't quick enough to dodge. I heal up, grab the stuff from the lurker, and then up the elevator we go. Alright. Sorry, it was down the elevator we go, actually. So through these doors, now you're in the morgue. This is where you're trying to get the rig codes from the captain. As you advance, you're going to see a new enemy. Well, two new enemies, really, for this playthrough. It's the Infector form, or the Reanimator. It's that bat-looking thing with the big proboscis that turns corpses into enemies. And what he turns them into isn't regular necromorphs. I call them badass necromorphs or super necromorphs because they do a lot of damage, they have a lot more health, and they're just faster and tougher than your standard version necromorph. I lay into him once he's dead, and once you get a clear shot at this reanimator, just lay into him with whatever it takes to put him down for good. Because, like I said, there's a lot of corpses in here, we are in a morgue, and he will turn them all into enemies. So even if it takes burning through quite a bit of ammo, do it just to prevent having more enemies to fight that could potentially overwhelm you. Come in here through the broken glass. There's some goodies on the floor that you can pick up, med kits, credits, and there's most importantly a power node right here, so don't forget that. So the captain has his records that were on his body, and then you don't have to backtrack. I'm just searching the morgue to see if there was anything that I had missed for items or equipment to pick up. Hop on the elevator, and we are going back up. Then we're back in this main medical bay area. As you come through this door, there's another badass or super necromorph. He charges at you like right off the bat, so be ready, either stasis him or start shooting him in the legs to slow him down. And just drop him with slow, steady shots. He's the only enemy in this room, so you don't have to panic. So now we're going to backtrack to the main atrium. I'm going to stop at the store to offload the stuff I don't need, grab what I do need out of the safe, and buy some power nodes. And then we are going to go back towards the tram because we are pretty much at the end of Chapter 2. So hop on the tram, hit the switch, and Chapter 2's done. And that's going to do it for this chapter, guys. Thank you for watching. Next time, tune in, and we will do Chapter 3 together. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.